Now, the last thing that we are going to do is add multiple checkpoints. So for that, I created just some additional logic, nothing too complicated. So I'm going to go over that and what needs to be set up. So first, what we're going to need is this checkpoint progress array, which is basically just a list of all of the checkpoints that are in the scene that you want to go through. And how we do this is on begin play, we get all actors of class of the checkpoint, and then we check if it is the checkpoint. If it is, we add it as a unique item into our checkpoint progress array. And that's about it for the event begin play. Then if you remember, in our own component begin overlap, we had a bunch of stuff that is happening. I just condensed everything into this progress checkpoint. So if you double click, we can see it's basically the same logic. We cast to our BP checkpoint, and this is the new one where we just save this as a variable so we can use it later. And then we check the start, this is all the same. We check the finish, this is all the same except this. I added the checkpoint progress where we check the length, and if the length is 0, we can finish the race. So this is important if we are checking. We're checking basically if this list has any more left checkpoints to go through before we can exit. So if you kind of try to go around maybe and go through the checkpoint of the finish, it will say, okay, this is not the actual finished. You actually did not finish all the other checkpoints, so we are not going to say that this was a valid end of the game or something like that. So this is basically what it does. Now, if it's false, if this checkpoint is not the start and a finish, we have our new logic in here, which is basically we first check if our checkpoint progress contains a specific checkpoint. So if you remember in our begin play, we added all of the active checkpoints or our checkpoints in the checkpoint progress. So this array should have all of our checkpoints. So this active checkpoint that we saved in here, I saved it as a local variable, so you can see it in here. We check if this our checkpoint progress contains the active checkpoint, and if it does contain and is a checkpoint, we do something. And what we do is first we remove it from the checkpoint progress. So we want basically to reduce this to 0, and then we know our player went through all of the necessary checkpoints. We also want to destroy our active checkpoint so we don't reevaluate it later again. And then we activate this HUD on checkpoint function that is also new. So let's go to our speed meter and see what that actually does. So I added new text that is basically just saying checkpoint, and then there is a little animation. So I again added animation, named it new checkpoint, and set the color to yellow and increase the size so you can have a big pop-up here. And then you can see I just animated the transform here. So if we go down, we have this translation and angle. That is the only things that we're going to create. And then I just first rotated it, and then it falls down. Then I created a checkpoint function, and here I played our animation. You can find it in here if you don't know where to get the animation. And I played it just by default settings. And in here you can of course add more stuff. So maybe you want to play the sound, whatever you want to happen when you confirmly went through the checkpoint. Maybe some particle can activate, stuff like that. And let's see, I think that's about it. Yeah, so let's go to our events. Let's just check everything. So yeah, let me give you kind of the high level overview if you don't remember or if you need kind of the view to see all the details. So again, we check the start, we check the finish. If it's not finished, it's one in between the checkpoint, and then we check it against our list. And now that we have everything working, let's see the setup. So what I did for the checkpoints is the is checkpoint is only important for the in-between checkpoints, but for the first and the last you want to set is finish or is start. So we actually start from here. And in this in-between, we can just set the checkpoint ID and then check if it is the checkpoint. And now when the car goes through first checkpoint, it will activate. saying that the race is started, and then we can go through these checkpoints, remove them from the array, and then when we set it to the end checkpoint, the array will be empty, and then we basically finished the race. So let's test that out. We can see that our race started. We went through the checkpoint, we got the checkpoint sign, second checkpoint, and our end time. And that's kind of the basics for the race. Yeah, the next video is going to be conclusion. So we basically created a car, added all the necessary steps for the car to work and work as we want them, where we change the stats, and yeah, added the checkpoints that work and can be set up throughout the level.